Okay.
What's going on, everybody? We're live. What's up, Jules?
What's up, Mika Mika?
It's another political Wednesday. How
Yes,
you doing?
yes, yes. It's been good. It's been good. I can't complain right now.
Yeah.
Life is good. Countdown to election is coming. So I'm like excited. I'm honestly just like I'm over it a little bit, but at the same time, like I'm just like in awe of how much participation just like on both sides that
It
is
got here
coming
quick,
out
didn't
to
it?
show their support. It
It got
came
here real
quick.
quick,
It
didn't
came
it?
quick. It came quick. It came quick.
It was
So,
just what, June? Yeah,
I
it was like
mean,
June.
honestly, yeah, it felt like it was just July where Biden was, stepping down. It just seemed like it just came and went.
This whole
So,
year flew past. But
yeah, like 24 got somewhere to go.
it do. It do. And it needs to hurry up because
Yes.
I'm ready. I'm ready. So anyway, welcome everybody to Red Cup Talks. This is our live stream edition, and this is our political Wednesdays with my girly, my favorite liberal Julesy.
Hey, y'all.
So we did. We
Mhm.
missed the debate because it was Julesy's birthday.
Mhm. And
So
that
we
was
missed the
recovery.
debate.
I was on recovery
How was your
mode.
birthday?
It was great. 40 is here, and it's definitely I'm feeling it. I'm feeling every bit of 40, and I love it. I love this space that I am in right now, and I'm looking forward to what 40 brings. I'm looking forwad to it.
Girl, it's the same. It's the same
It
thing,
ain't.
if you
It's
ask
not the
me.
same. I wish I could say that it's the same, but it's definitely like a new level of just how you approach your life, how you look at your life, the
I
decisions
get
that
you.
you've made. It's a more internal thing. I don't think
Mhm.
it's something that a lot of people even talk about. And as I talk to my peers that are in this 40-year-old group, it's different. I saw that video of Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle, and I think Aretha Franklin, and they're like, women in their 40s are just different. So I'm embracing it. I'm like, I mean, it's come with its challenges, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I'm ready to like kind of take them on. So it's a different space.
Well, I'm happy you had a good birthday. I had to stream with Anton, so
Mhm.
I couldn't come down there. But how did you guys get to watch it? Did you guys get to watch the debate
Oh
down there?
yeah, yeah. So I picked a place. Lydia's on H Street.
Mhm.
They were streaming the debate, and they turned the music down. It was a vibe. It was kind of filled out. Thank you. In the chat for my birthday wishes. Still Virgo season.
Already.
So yes, it was a vibe. People came out. And I was just thankful to have like my family. My sisters came out.
Mhm.
My daughter, who's 21 now, she was able to come out and have a couple drinks with her mother, and my husband, and just some close friends that I felt like would appreciate the vibe and what it meant to me just to kind of have a debate watch party for my 40th. It's just like unreal, but it was definitely it was great to have people come out and support.
Well, that's good. It sound like it was good. I really wish I could have been down there being my antagonistic self, but
You would have been
I
good.
had
You
my
would have. It
outfit
would have.
ready.
It would have been a. It would have
I
been a
had my
vibe. You would have
outfit
been fine.
ready. I had my little
Uh-uh.
MAGA girl outfit. I had my
Oh
little outfit
Lord
ready.
Jesus. You got a
Child.
MAGA outfit. Bless your heart. Bless your
It's
heart.
Amazon. Amazon got everything. I don't care if
Lord.
it's Democrats, Republicans, Independents. I seen one for RFK. It's all types of stuff on Amazon, child. If you like it, they got it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Let me drink my tea for that. Oh, okay.
All right. So we're gonna get started. So what I wanted to talk about today, really get into excuse me. I still haven't got over the cold. Well, I got over the cold. I still haven't got over the cough.
Okay. You
Take
still a
that
little
as you will.
congestion.
Yeah, it's lingering. But what I wanted to talk about today and open with is the rhetoric. So
Mhm.
if you've been watching the news, and this is for everyone, if you've been watching the news on both sides, you will see just like the talk just it's really heightened, right? And we all know, like we watched I think it was me and you, but we watched the
Mhm.
history on, how they've come to terms with going back and forth and, in politics. But
Mhm.
I think now it's to a point where people are being, hurt. And
Mhm.
we're going to get into it, but President Trump now has had 2 assassination attempts, okay?
Mhm.
And in my personal thought, regardless of how I feel about anybody, and I do mean regardless of how I feel about anybody, I
Mhm.
would never say I want somebody, unalived,
Mhm.
YouTube.
Mhm.
And so I just think that the rhetoric from some to say, "Oh, well," is going a little too far. So I wanted to open with a video that I saw that was, like, put together, you know what I mean? That was put
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
and it was basically showing, like, all of the rhetoric, that's led up to now you have he's not a sitting president, but a president being shot at twice in the same year, like, that has never happened. You've had, politicians be, of course, shot at, Ronald Reagan, so on and such, and you had some that were assassinated,
Correct.
JFK.
Mhm.
But this is, like, at a whole new level to the point where even, they got some new information that I'm gonna show after the video, but something just happened this morning. So, I'm gonna get
Mhm.
into the video, and then we're gonna come back.
Okay.
But I definitely wanted to talk about this because this is wild.
Now, the threats against Donald Trump, they are very real. The lack of urgency, the lack of accountability at the DHS, and frankly, the entire Biden-Harris administration is beyond appalling. Make no mistake, Donald Trump has a huge base of devoted supporters. Now, there are Americans who would walk over hot coals to vote for him, and they will. But there are also people who hate the former president with a passion, which has now made him, obviously, the number one target in terms of assassination in our country. He has a lot of enemies. The Democratic Party, state-run media mob, the deep state, government officials. Trump derangement syndrome is very real. They have demonized him. They have besmirched him. They have smeared him. They have slandered him. They have created a caricature of him. In less than a decade, Donald Trump has gone from a billionaire celebrity beloved by Democrats and the media to a Republican these same people now referred to constantly as a threat to democracy because Donald Trump's politics and rhetoric did not align with this Democratic machine. And many on the left have done nothing but vilify him and even at times glorified violence against him. Take a look.
That man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
The donor class can't just sit back on the sidelines and say, "Oh well, don't worry, this will all work itself out." They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president? I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living. However, it's been a while. And maybe it's time.
How dare he say the things he does? Of course I want to punch him in the face.
Right.
Press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Imagine any conservative said anything similar about any Democrat. Now, even Trump's 2020 opponent once joked about killing the former president, you might recall, and it's not funny.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Now, for years, Donald Trump, his family, his supporters have been vilified, dehumanized. Falsely, they create the ridiculous caricature of him that remains in the minds of too many people. But despite nonstop hysteria, let's see, the Russia hoax, the Mueller witch hunt, the two bogus impeachment, Hillary Clinton's dirty Russian disinformation dossier, a weaponized DOJ, they cannot erase a simple fact, and that is that Donald Trump's presidency was marked by sound policies and stability, and you are not better off 4 years with having had Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in office. Back when Trump was president, the economy was strong. It was rebounding well from COVID. The world was a far more peaceful place. Gas was cheap. Productivity was high. He set record after record low unemployment for every demographic in the country. Our borders, they were secure. Trump did not cause a world war or become a dictator. He upheld the U.S. Constitution. He worked within 3 branches of government to implement his agenda. Democrats, the mob, the media, well, they lie repeatedly and say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. What do people think when they hear this? You decide.
Watch what happens. It's a danger. He's a genuine danger to American security.
You know, Donald Trump presents a challenge and a threat fundamentally to the republic.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy and our most fundamental freedoms.
Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes.
Let's not pretend that Donald Trump isn't exactly like Mussolini, exactly like Hitler. He is that guy.
Donald Trump presents an existential threat to democracy. He has advertised he is going to transition this country from a democracy to a dictatorship.
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler or a Kim Jong-un. That's what he wants to be.
We have to defeat a person who is a threat to our democracy of the kind that we have not seen.
Adolf Hitler, Vladimir Putin. Now, 2 psychotic Democrats took.
So, I wanted to let that whole thing play because I didn't want to, be selective about it. I wanted the whole thing to play, right? So I want to get your thoughts on it, and then I'll give my thoughts on it.
Okay, so first I'll say, it's unfortunate that this has happened now twice. I have never even seen this in my lifetime. I don't think it's happened to see someone almost attempted assassination. So my prayers are with him and his family for their safety, because I don't want somebody to get hurt in general. And if you know me, I'm a good person. So just because I don't care for him and his politics does not mean that I want harm to come to him. And so I saw there was a lot of controversy on how even the response to it was. Personally, I don't know how much more they could have done, because from what I understand, Biden and Harris have both issued a statement right after it taken place. I'm not sure if they had touched bases or called. I don't know the inside of that.
Trump said she called. He said at the town hall last night, so she did.
Okay, so with that being said, I think that's a sign of leadership for Kamala and for Biden to reach out. That's a show of leadership. On the other end, where people are dismissing it and acting as if he deserved it, I don't agree with that, because you don't fight fire with fire. We understand that Trump, he said a lot of things to a lot of people. He's offended a lot of people. We cannot go unnoticed to say that Trump has put targets on his own back. And Trump still has not found a way to find the balance between toning it down to where he's not offending people, but still getting his message across without offending people. And it's sad because there's a lot of extreme people out in this society that we live in that are lacking mental health, that are strung out because their finances are disarray. Some people just don't like this guy and his antics. And so within that, you have to throw caution to the wind and tone it down some. So if I were him, I understand he wants to go out there with his fist pumped and say, I'm a fighter and I took a bullet, not one time, but at this point, almost 2 times for this country. He has to find a balance a little bit. And I've been saying this from the very beginning, which is Trump needs to tone it down just a bit. I understand his policies are what most of his Republican parties and constituents are saying, to stick to the policy. Stop trying to offend people and then put information out there that's not completely accurate. And then you're putting targets on other people's back. But then when that same target come back at you, you're playing victim. You can't do the same thing that you're doing to other people and then expect for people to have sympathy. So that's the unfortunate stuff that's going on in Ohio right now, where you make a statement like that, and now parts of Ohio are Springfield, Ohio, got bomb threats and all these different things coming at them. Is it fair to the Haitians? No, it's not. So you got to throw caution. Do unto others as you want done to yourself. Don't sit here and call somebody else for their stuff and then do the same thing that they do and then think that you're supposed to get sympathy because they hit you back. So, and I'm not condoning his assassination because people are freaking crazy. But at the same time, it also makes me say, like, now that I'm 40 and I've gotten a little bit older, I have to choose my wisdom over my ability to just respond and be so quick-witted to just like offend people, because I don't know who I'm offend. So I just feel bad that we've pretty much seen a full circle of some of the stuff that Trump has put out there, whether it's the guns. All these people have rifles. He's the one that wants people to not have to go through those background checks. So it's unfortunate that those are the same things that are coming back. And it's just like, you got to be very careful with your words and the information and the stuff you put out there, because karma has no, like, karma gonna come back. And I just feel bad that he has to learn in this capacity.
So here's the thing. I can say 1,000 things to you, right? That doesn't give you the right to shoot me.
Right.
Okay. And let's be clear, and we can go back to 2016. They have said the most egregious stuff. I chose that video of Sean Hannity because the other videos had even more stuff in it. Okay. If you go back, you remember the what's her name? Kathy Griffin, I think her name is, the comedian, where she held up Donald's head. Okay.
Yes.
That's egregious. Then you literally have sitting senators, Congress people saying shoot him in the head. These are not French people. These are politicians.
I don't agree with any of that. I'm not saying that it's right. What I'm simply saying is you got to be careful.
Each one of your points. I know you didn't,
because people crazy. That's what I'm saying.
But this is not something that Donald Trump started, because like I was saying, back from 2016 and above, they've called him every name in the book. Now, it's okay to be like, I think his policies are stupid. I think his policies are dumb. I don't agree. Whatever, right? That's fine. But what I'm talking about is the personal stuff. And then when he gets personal, then it's an issue, right? Because we were talking about this before. They're going at his age. But if he goes at somebody's age, especially if it's a woman, it's a problem. So there's a double standard on who can say what, right?
On both sides, yes.
But here's the thing. I'm not saying that both sides don't say anything. I'm saying that that only one side is allowed to rev up the rhetoric, right? Because if Donald Trump was to go and say, I think when you see Kamala, you should punch her in the face, I guarantee you it would be a problem.
Like, I mean, we've seen lynches hung at
no. I said from
thing.
Donald Trump.
We've seen lynches.
These are politicians saying this.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is this: I'm
talking about the political
with them threatening her. I don't agree with them making any threats. I don't think anybody's life should be a danger because of their view. I don't think that. So first, let me first say that. I don't want nobody confused that. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to talk trash to someone and not going to think that person is not going to talk back trash to me. Now,
they can talk back trash, but the problem is
But
is
Mika, to be
adding.
fair, on both sides, I'm not going to
That's not my,
defend.
but that's what I'm saying. That's not my problem. My problem is in
You're-
the trash talking. I actually like it. You know,
I mean, I personally think,
I like the
but
theater.
he like it has its limits, though. You know,
and that's my point. When you start saying, when you start getting up on a podium, okay, and you say, when you see those people out, get in their face and get, because you don't know. Okay, so when she told that crowd to get out there and be in people's face, and you know, when you see a MAGA supporter, get in their face and do all, you know, all this nonsense, right? Let's just say I'm a scary person and you get in my face because you heard Maxine say it.
I'm getting in nobody's face because ain't no politician worth me
you're a
fighting for.
sane
Let me tell you
person.
that.
But
I'm
saying,
none of them worth it.
There are not sane people. So when you say
Mika,
go out there and do that, Donald Trump has never said, when you see Kamala supporting or Joe Biden supporters, when you see them, hit one of them in the face, because they just stupid.
I personally have never heard, I haven't heard them say, just go hit up, go smack ham at her. I wouldn't do that. Personally, what I'm trying to simply say is,
you said you never heard the Kamala supporters or Donald Trump supporters.
I'm not gonna defend or deny anything that the Democrats have done that may seem violent, but I'm not going to sit here and act like on the GOP side that they haven't said some crazy outlandish things too. So what I'm saying is, we can call it on both sides.
I can agree, but that's what I started off. That's what I started off saying.
They're both wrong on both sides. So
but that's what I started off saying.
Any person per se, because they both have done something wrong. That's crazy for me to
but they both have they both have not done one thing, and that's what
they both have done crazy stuff.
Hold on, but that's what they both talk trash, and it gets to a point where it's even personal. Like I said, I started off saying both sides do this. However, what both sides do not do is say, go and smack somebody, go and hit somebody, go and now you have never never heard
January 6th with poor Mike Pence. I see someone in the comments, poor Vice President Pence in the Capitol building where he's getting stormed by Trump, who just recently said that he didn't make the January 6th people go and do that, but yet he wants to have a whole January 6th.
But he didn't.
Gayla, he's going to say, meet me down there. He had the same little fist pump and had them.
He was already down there
in the Capitol. Mika, no, that was crazy. That was crazy. So his influence.
He was already down there. He was already down there. He was already
He was down there because he was giving
two things. He was already down there. He was already down there. He was already down there giving a speech. Okay, and then two, what a lot of people don't understand about America and American history. Okay, the founding fathers of this country. We're just going to go first with the American history. The founding fathers of this country, when they were crafting all the documents for the United States, okay, it's literally in there. Do not allow your government to become a tyrannical government.
And that's why they don't want him back in office.
Hold on. If you think your government is tyrannical, you, as a citizen, you, me, everybody else, have a right to overthrow that government. Now, do most people want to overthrow it? No, because we like the government.
Okay.
But the reason why that was put in there was because the people that wrote it were coming from being in a tyrannical government. Okay, they were being overtaxed. They were taxing the poor. Like taxes, they're going back to the same thing that they were doing over in Europe. Okay, so a lot of people don't understand the history and why that is in there. Second, that is not the first time, and actually, that's the least.
We discussed that before,
right? That's the least deadly time.
But at this rate, a sitting president.
But they literally They literally in the 70s, liberals literally bombed the Capitol while people were in there.
It doesn't make it right. I don't agree with that. It doesn't make it right. Two wrongs don't make it right.
It's not that it makes it right. What I'm saying is how the media frames it as if this is the first time, and as if it's only happened under Donald Trump, when it happened under a Democrat, because they did not like the war. that Democrats were pushing. So what I'm saying is this has happened before because people do have the right to go against their government. They have that right.
They have the right, but that doesn't make it necessarily right the way they went about it. American police officers, people's lives were at jeopardy as a result of this coup. No, like our politicians' lives were at danger. We would be remiss. Their lives
well, according to Kamala, that's fine.
By the people. Nancy Pelosi's office was ruined. She didn't even know if she was going to make it out of there alive. So is that fair to our politicians that we put in office? No, they were.
Your mic went out. Your mic went out. Your mic went out. Come a little closer.
I don't know.
Come a little closer so I can hear you. Go ahead.
But no, I just find it funny that it's like y'all had the whole Capitol January 6th. A lot of those politicians, had they not been able to get to the right place, they would have essentially could have been harmed by these mob of people. So if their life was at threat, why are we not like considering the fact that Donald Trump did encourage them to do that? He said, meet me down there. He put his fist up, and then while they were being in a position where they had to hide, he's in his bunker. So at the end of the day, you can't spew hate into this country and then think that everyone's just going to give you love. You can't do that. It's just a contradiction. So I'm not trying to be funny. I don't want him to get hurt, but he shouldn't be out here putting other people's lives in danger. And then everybody's like Donald Trump is a victim to something, but he's put people in position to be victims too.
So let me ask you this: if you have a woman outside, and everybody is for, women, let women do what they want with their bodies. Okay, cool. When a woman goes outside and what the girls like to wear now, they butt cheeks hanging out. Because when I was at the Nicki Minaj concert, all them butt cheeks was out. Okay, so they go outside and their butt cheeks is hanging out, right? That's their prerogative. Somebody crazy snatches them up. Are we gonna say, well, they shouldn't went outside like that? Because they know how some people are.
Right.
But no, I'm saying, are the police, the media, are they gonna say they shouldn't have went outside like that? They know how some people are. Why don't they dress appropriate? Why don't they cover up? I assure you they won't, because that would be blaming the victim. I assure you they won't. Because no matter what she has on, she should not be touched. No matter what she has on, even though what you have on is provocative, even though what you have on incites some crazy men that may want it. Okay. Right. So you're a part of that. You're a part of that issue, right? But I guarantee you not one person will say that.
I mean, I look at it like this, and I try to be like the most fairest person on both sides, because I understand that I can't always lead to my own understanding because I do not know everything. But I would be crazy to sit here and put all of the blame on the Democrats, no more than for myself to go and put all the blame on the Republicans. They're crazy extremists on both sides, right?
I agree.
And so as a result of that, I try to be mindful on the things that I say that could offend someone, because God knows, who knows, like the whole saying is like, what, you would rather be feared than love. The thing about being feared than love is you're always going to have a target on you as a result of that, because so many people want power that they don't care of what they got to do to get the power. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's a contradiction. Like, you can't call one side out if you're not going to call the other side out. If you're going to speak in the truth, you have to say something on both sides, because both sides have some bullshit on them. And that's honest. And that's the truest fact that I can say.
So you got to think. It's sort of what you said, as there are extremists on both sides, right? You got right-wing extremists, and then you have left-wing extremists, right? So you have those. You have people on the fringe. Nobody's denying that. All I'm saying, and all, pundits that are talking for Trump, all they're saying is, when you start saying hey, go and do this, or I want to punch him in the face, or I want to, like, when you start saying that, right, they could say you're dumb, you're this. And what's even worse, they start saying things like, which is definitely not
Right.
true. Things like, he's just as worse as Hitler.
I mean, his own vice president said that at a point. Vance
I don't
said
care. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is.
Within the past
I don't
5
care who.
years,
Listen to
Vance
what I
said
said.
that.
I don't
So
care
Vance
who
said
it
that.
is.
Now he's on his
Hitler
ticket.
actually murdered people. Hitler actually murdered people. So now when you say stuff like that, okay, and it's
Right.
funny that the left only uses Hitler. They don't never use Stalin because they like Stalin, and Stalin murdered way more people than Hitler. But I digress. They never look at what they're saying. Hitler actually murdered people. If you don't like this man because you don't like the way he talks, that is perfectly fine. When I speak and the points that I use, I'm talking for everybody. When I say stuff about free speech, I want it even for the people I think are just dumb. I'm talking for everybody. When I say keep free speech, it's for everybody's benefit.
Correct.
Because just because right now you don't like it, what happens when you do like the speech? It's already limited. And then you get yourself.
So this is one thing my daddy told me, right?
Yeah.
He says you got one mouth and 2 ears, meaning sometimes you got to do twice as much as listening as you do talking. And what I'm learning at this big age is sometimes I got to know when to shut the fuck up, and I need to know when to speak the fuck up. Okay, it's two different things. So what I realize is that sometimes it ain't my battle to go against a Republican or a GOP. It's not my battle, because I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to stick to what I believe in, and no one's going to change my perspective on that. So I don't have to say anything. But when it comes to expressing the facts of both sides have issues sometimes, I'm going to speak up on that, because sometimes people get so focused on the side that they dislike and bringing out all their flaws that they forget that they are flawed too. So therefore, I want to speak out on the truth that they're both fucked up, and we need to stop trying to defend both fucked up sides of it, because we are not getting paid to do this stuff. Okay. And if you are getting paid to do it, then great. But the reality is they're not paying us to defend them. No way, no shape, no foul. Okay.
This is for everybody though.
But
this is for everybody's benefit though, because I wouldn't want, like, I'm definitely not voting for Kamala, but I would never, and I do mean never. What would be the point of me saying, like, I've heard Kamala, which we'll get into, say a bunch of stuff that I don't like, that's blatant lies and all this other stuff. And even with all that, I would just say, and I don't like it. It's stupid. It's a lie. Whatever. Right. That's the extent of my criticism, right, towards whatever it is. I'm not going to say, you know what, I'm so sick of hearing this broad lie, I'm going to punch her in the face. Or I'm so sick of hearing this broad lie, if y'all see her out, please just drag her.
I don't believe.
You know what I'm saying? So that is my only critique. That is my only critique.
You can hurt a person more mentally. You can do more damage to a person mentally than you can physically. So I ain't about physical attacks and no capacity. I feel like you can get in a person's mind. When you mess with a person's mind, you can get to you got them. You got them.
Well,
okay?
I think both of the assassins. I think both of the assassins are nuts. So that's just what it is. Anytime anytime you want to go out and do something like that based off, just because you don't like what somebody says.
It's weird.
You're
it's weird. But it's weird. I don't like the fact that, like, oh, because you see this person, like, this person hasn't done any physical harm to you, but you really feel like that you got to go and take this person's life because they said something. Like, words ain't gonna hurt you. It's the matter of, I can see if Donald Trump like stormed his house and did something. Like, no, like, this man ain't did nothing to you to deserve to be alive. Like, he at this point just let them do this election. Let's just get it over with. Whoever people vote for is what people vote for. Let them best person win, party win, respectfully. But other than that, trying to take a person's life because you feel that they're a threat, I don't think it's that deep. And I think that both sides can tone down the name calling, quite frankly. I mean, because it's like, focus on your policies, focus on what you do good. And if you can focus on what you actually do good or what your party is doing good, then you might actually have a chance of winning this election.
Okay. So we're gonna move to the next point here, and it's the media, of course, and then and Trump's, second assassination attempt. So one of the things that stuck out to me this week in the media was Hillary Clinton. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but Hillary Clinton was on, what is this lady's name? Rachel Maddow. I haven't watched Rachel Maddow in a long time, because I'm going to say this. There was a time that CNN was actually kind of moderate, right?
Yes.
Because if you go back and watch a lot of old Don Lemon stuff, he was the main one talking about pull up your pants, do this, do that, stop acting like that. So, I'll say this. I did a video on things being un-American, and I was so surprised that Anna from the Young Turks, when she said that when she got in the game in 2007, the left wasn't like that. She was like, I prided myself on not, on not giving false information and not being overwhelmingly biased on my screen. Right. And she said, oh, we used to talk about, she said, because the right wing was just building their infrastructure, because this is 2007. She was like, but I thought that they were starting to be biased. She was like, so I was priding myself on not being biased. She says, well, now everything that the left has prided themselves on, they're actually doing, and it's 10 times. So I was actually very surprised that Anna said that, and she came out across it because a lot of journalists were upset because MSNBC went off on journalists on the left and how they cover Kamala. And she's like, we're journalists. We're supposed to cover it. It doesn't matter if I like her or not. If she made a statement that was incorrect and it's going to hurt citizens, why can't I fact check it? So I definitely appreciated that. But I want to get into Hillary Clinton here and what she said on Rachel Maddow's show the other night. So I'm going to bring it up now. Here we go. Oh, let me play it.
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist, Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. His demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
Now, I stopped it right there because it is literally what I was just saying to you. Anna pointed out the press, one, should not be biased because they're not here for either candidate, not Donald Trump, not RFK, Dr. West, or Kamala. They're here for us. So to say, as a former politician, to say that the press should have a consistent narrative on something is her flat out saying that they have a side. Because she's talking to all of the press, but preferably the left, because the left owns most of the media. Right? You have your ABCs. Most of the big conglomerates are left wing or left leaning. So she's talking to the media and she's telling them that they should do just that. And it's like, how can you tell people to do? I mean, how can you tell the press to do that when the whole purpose of the press is to have freedom of the press to inform the people, and you let the people decide whether they like that person or not, but they consistently give their opinions, and that's on both sides. But she's saying that that side should have an actual narrative and stick to it. That's her word.
You know, they were merciless about what they saw as President Biden's, problems in the debate and calling for him to withdraw. I believe Donald Trump has disqualified himself over and over and over again to be a presidential candidate, let alone a president. The second thing, though, is that part of what Trump is counting on is for people to get desensitized. I mean, oh my gosh, did you hear what he said yesterday? Did you hear who he attacked? Did you hear the viciousness? And it just like with a shrug, okay, fine, we're moving on. Well, Americans need to understand that they have to take Trump both seriously and literally. He has said what he wants to do. He and his allies with Project 2025, his desire to be a dictator, at least on day one, all of that is in the public record. And I believe that more Americans have to be, willing to endure what frankly is discomforting and to some extent kind of painful. To take him at his word and to be outraged by what he represents. And then finally, the hopeful side of this is that I do think more and more Americans are, rejecting the kind of chaos that he represents. We can't go back. That's what the Harris campaign says all the time. We're not going back. We're not going back to, what he failed to do to protect American lives during COVID. We're not going back to the, romance with dictators that puts, innocent lives at risk and America's security in danger. We can't go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world.
So I want to get your thoughts on that from what Miss Hillary Clinton had to say.
Okay, so what I will say is I don't agree as a liberal, as a Democrat, I don't agree with everything. I do think that people have the right to decide and do their own research on both sides. So if you focus in, we can focus in on all the things negative that Trump does, but is that really going to be the solution? No, that's not really the solution. Like, we do need to know what Kamala Harris has negative, so then that way we can make the formed decision to say, okay, let's weigh their negatives against each other to figure out where things, where we can meet in the middle, okay? Whether you're independent, Democrat, Republican, or whatever. So I don't agree with just focusing on Trump. Quite frankly, I'm tired of seeing the negative press on Trump. I'm tired of it. I'm honestly tired of just saying,
You think that might be the reason why people, because she said something about being desensitized, right? She's saying Donald Trump wants them to be. I said I personally think that people are desensitized to it because you keep talking about it, right? You keep talking about the same thing instead of, to me, I think, and I said this before, I think the left would serve if they really thought that his policies were so bad, you would really focus in on them. Like me, I focus on Kamala's policies because I think they're bad. So I focus on that. I don't focus on calling her this, that, and the third. I focus on those. Everything I've ever put on here about Kamala has always been what she's talking about.
Right. But see, like I've always said, is like, I don't personally know anything. I don't see how Trump has benefited me. And that's the part where a lot of people that are supporting Trump this 2024, and I see them all in the comments, like, okay, Trump 2024, I got y'all. But I can't really quite say where Trump necessarily benefited me as an individual, whereas I can say that for the Democrats and how they have benefited me in some capacity, or people that I know and love. So that's where it gets a little mixed up, because on one end, people may not like Kamala Harris and what she represents, and some people may not like Trump and what he represents. But if you're able to actually get something from both of those people, then vote in your best interest by all means. So you can't tell me don't vote for Kamala Harris if everything that she represents and the policies that she's putting forth are aligned with my views and my values on my life. Those are my personal preferences, and vice versa for the people that are supporting Trump. So what you do is, by focusing on the negatives in general, you're watering down what is good of each candidate, quite frankly. So if I were like a Trump supporter, I would highlight more of what he's done good instead of focusing on what the other candidate has done wrong. So then that way people have more motive and influence to actually want to vote for something good, quite frankly, instead of having the scarce tactic, because apparently they're both sides are doing the scarce tactic, where you're just scaring. Trump is scaring people, saying, oh, the cats and the dogs. Kamala scaring people, saying he's a dictator, Project 2025. They're both running off of scare tactics to scare the American people. And that is one thing that they're both doing.
So, and I'll say this to end this part of this discussion we're having. The thing about it.
Sorry, I had to say that. I'm very educated. Go ahead.
Oh, as I've been told, you just have to focus. You just have to focus.
No, I'm focused on the middle. I'm focused on the middle. If fairness and being in the middle is where I lie, then that's where I'm at. But that's also a benefit of me, because I can see both sides, and where people feel very benefited, like they can benefit from Trump, and I see how people can benefit from Harris.
Here's the thing, but that's our country, right?
Right.
You are allowed to be able to vote for who you want to vote for, right?
Correct.
And nobody can stop you from voting for that person. The problem comes in where if I am voting for Trump, okay, where there's a opposition, the opposition is now stop them from doing something. So once you start entering into that territory, that's where it starts to become very un-American. Or as I, did the other day, I did a show on, like I said, un-American, and there are non-citizens on voter registries. Oregon just had a whole mishap, as this is their words, not mine. To where they allow, from what they found, quote unquote, what they found, 306 non-citizens. Now, these 306 non-citizens, we just had local elections. Are they voting in those too? And what they have found is some of them have. So now you have a group of people that are over here that don't pay taxes. Okay. And they're allowed to influence what goes on. To me, this is a whole, like, when I say this is a whole problem, this is a whole problem, because I'm okay with someone that's American that doesn't have the same political viewpoint as me. I'm not okay with someone that's American, okay with having non-Americans vote and they have a different viewpoint than I do. I have an issue with that. So I understand the whole thing about immigration, and to end this here, it didn't start with Republicans, okay? Because the first real strict immigration bill came from Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton did something in 1996 called IRA, okay? And IRA literally put like a strict hold on immigration. So this is not a Donald Trump just woke up today and said, I'm racist. I don't want any of these people in here. No, everybody.
No, he didn't wake up today and say he was racist. He's been racist.
Okay. We'll get to that. But
yeah, that's another topic.
We'll get to that. But what I'm saying is,
I like it. I love him. I like it.
Immigration has been an issue, and the Democrats put the strictest immigration law into effect, to the point that immigration law is still into effect today. And it is the reason for the influx, because of how you had to go about it, right? And so people just stopped trying to do it the right way because it was so strict. Okay. Right. So what I'm saying is that this is a bipartisan issue because it affects all Americans, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. So when they lay it at the feet of Donald Trump, it's incorrect. And that's why I always want people to understand history. And that's why I always try to show things that, you know, are things from the past, because it's real quick. Everybody done forgot about what Obama has done in 8 years, what Bush has done in his 8 years. Everybody forgot real quick. You forget.
I mean,
So
I
go
don't
back
forget it. I don't forget it. What I do know is that you know, each president, I mean, my thing is this: if we select the right people for president, the next person should be able to come in and take over where that person comes over. It doesn't always happen in that case.
Well, you never
Obama
gonna
left
select the
one
right
thing
people.
and Trump left another thing. And when it came time down for Trump to get his wall, his Mexico wall, like I told you before, his Congress did not sign off on those documents on the bill to pass, the budget to pass for him to get his Mexican wall. So instead, he allowed the government to shut down for the longest it ever shut down, for 35 days, as a result of him not getting his wall. So that was one of his solutions that he had for at least the border thing that did not go over well with his own Congress. Fast forwarded to now, where Congress did have a bipartisan agreement for immigration bill, and he told his constituents, hey, don't pass it, because he knew that would help the Biden Harris administration, in which now that's part of the reason why they're
You mean like how
focusing
Nancy
on immigration.
Pelosi? You mean like how Nancy Pelosi sat behind him and said anything that he comes up with, she is going to make sure it doesn't pass. And when she,
I mean, it's awful. I mean, and you know,
you get what I'm
it's
saying?
awful.
So and she was in office. Trump
Mhm.
is not in office. So again, everything.
But he's been in office.
Hold on,
We
but
see what he can do.
I'm saying if I say it, because he didn't say it, but I'm going to go with it because I don't want to argue this point. So I'm going to go with it. If Trump says, yeah, don't vote for it. Sir, I'm in office. I can vote for what I want.
Okay.
They chose not to do something. And again, even Democrats called out, why did you wait until almost election time to actually try to do something about immigration? Because you didn't really want to do something about immigration. You could have done something if you wanted to. Okay. At least I'm not a fan of Obama, but at least Obama, when you go back and look at what he talked about, he even said he didn't care about splitting up families. He literally said it. He did not care about splitting up families. He was like, okay, well, the children that was born here, they're in school. Okay, cool. You know, I'm not going to take them out of school. And the reporter goes, well, what about the parents? They're here illegally. Bye-bye.
Okay.
So,
right. I mean, it's the same like when
again,
I've seen the kids in the cages under the Trump administration. I mean,
but
it's
it is no.
no.
That was not Trump. That was not Trump, because we got
Go back
footage.
and look.
That was under Obama. That was under. But that's what I'm saying.
It's okay. We can look at
the
it.
kids with the cages is also something. Obama.
both
When I
of
tell you, the porter in chief didn't care. The porter in chief did not care. Okay, he did not care. Again, you're here illegally. You know, I literally showed one thing where the guy just crossing the border. He's like, you know, this is illegal, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so this is the thing. If they're still doing that now, then how come when Trump was in office, he did not fix it then?
So he did. So he started. Yes, he did. He started the border wall, and he got miles of. So the miles of border wall, that he got up is so effective. Kamala Harris decided to use it in her new ad. When she talks about herself and how she was strict on crime, while she was a DA, she put it in her. She put Trump's whole wall in her ad when she talked about the border. That wall works just like those terrorists work. That's why they kept it.
Did she also take it over once he left office? I'm confused. Like he wasn't supposed to.
No, they didn't do. She didn't do anything about. And this is the thing.
I think there's some misconceptions with that as well. I think there's some false narratives that are out there that can definitely say half of the story, but not tell the complete story at the bigger picture. And I've seen that so much this election that it is really sickening. So, I mean, I think there's some misconceptions about the border wall and this whole immigration thing that's going on. And honestly and truthfully, that's why I'm like, I'm ready for this election to be over.
So we're gonna get into. It may be for a different reason.
I mean,
but
it's beneficial for some people. I know people get coined up off of it, but this right here is just like people are not telling the full.
But you know, this happens. This happens every election season. But I wish that the media and everybody else were hyped up like this on your local level, because that's really what matters. Correct. And they don't hype it up like this. So I really wish they did that. But nevertheless, we're going to move on to the next point. So what happened in the media this week? Kamala went to the National Association for Black Journalists, and she had an interview. Now, it was at a smaller venue, and I think it was only it was only journalists or whatever, but it was at a much more intimate, venue. So they were able to ask more questions.
Correct.
My only issue with it was the approach, right? Because these are journalists, okay? I don't care that they're Black. These are journalists, right? They're supposed to be doing their job, informing us, the American people. My only issue with it was, as soon as, and I'm getting ready to play it because we're going to talk about some points from it. As soon as she came on, they talk like this. She hadn't even said a word yet. Even the introduction was different, right? And this is a point that I keep saying. Okay, I don't care if you're for Trump or Kamala. You are a journalist. You are not allowed to pick sides. And you can clearly see the bias to the point when it was notable in the whole entire interview. Like, the voices were calm. Even if it was something that they and it wasn't many parts, but the one or two parts that they did push back on, it was still like this. It was still with kid gloves. It was still very nice and polite. Right? There was nothing that I can sit here and say, well, I felt this way about it, so I'm gonna lash out on you about, or I'm gonna call you this because I know you lied about it. That was my biggest problem with it. But we're gonna get into it. I want to start with, because there was a couple points, but it's long, so we can't do all of it. But there were a couple of points, and I want to get into the first point because a lot of people felt that, I guess, during the debate, the first question, "Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?" was not answered. So I was happy that the journalists decided to bring that question back up. And so I want to get into that really quick. So let's go ahead, y'all.
Harris.
So as you see, even the demeanor is different as they introduced her.
Madam Vice President, thank you so much for doing this and making the time.
Of course.
Just a little bit busy right now. We want to start on an issue that Americans across the country say is their number one concern, and that's the economy. A question that has been asked of you and everybody that's on the Democratic side is whether or not voters are better off now than they were 4 years ago. Are they better off now than they were 4 years ago?
So when we came into, well, first of all, let me just say it is good to be with the National Association of Black Journalists, and I thank you for the work you do and that your members do every day. It is very important that we ensure that this organization and your members always have the resources and the platforms to deliver the voices that must be heard. So I thank you for hosting me today. 4 years ago, when we came in during the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. We came in during the worst public health epidemic in centuries. We came in after the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Now, I just want to say this. During the ABC debate, anytime Donald Trump didn't directly say yes or no, so is that a yes or no? Yeah, is that a yes or no? Is that a yes or no? You get what I'm saying? Now, most people, most politicians, they're gonna go through the little woo and then answer the question. But she's allowed to answer however she sees fit, because this is not answering the question here, right? This is going around the bend, but she's allowed to go around the bend. But nobody's pushing back that she's not answering the question. Like, was it better or not? Yes or no? And then go into your rant. So I just wanted to point that out there.
And a lot of it due in large part to the mismanagement by the former president as it relates to COVID and obviously January 6th. And we had then a lot of work to do to clean up a mess. As of today, we have created over 16 million new jobs, over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. We have the lowest Black unemployment rate in generations. We have invested in small businesses, and they're to the benefit of many people, but including Black small businesses, some of the highest rate of creation of new Black small businesses in years. We have done the work of capping the cost of prescription medication for our seniors for issues like insulin. And again, I'm speaking to the Black journalists who care about all people, but in particular, I'll talk about the impact on Black people, where we know Black folks are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. And we have now finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month, capped the cost of prescription medication for our seniors at $2,000 a year, because we, unlike the former president who promised to do it, we finally have allowed Medicare to negotiate drug prices against the big pharmaceutical companies. And these are just some of the accomplishments. Is the price of groceries still too high? Yes. Do we have more work to do? Yes. And I will tell you, I do believe that I offer a new generation of leadership for our country that is about, in particular, turning the page on an era that sadly has shown us attempts by some to incite fear, to create division in our country, and to do the work that is about bringing some level of optimism and, dare I say, ambition about what I know is possible in our country. And so my plan for the economy includes what I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy.
So I'm just going to ask you, I'm not going to say anything about it yet. Have you heard the answer yet?
Yeah.
You got the answer, because I have not got the answer. I mean, I got what I'm tracking what she's talking about, which I guess she's touting
it's easy.
what she has done, and I can pick that apart, but I'm just gonna go with it. She's touting what she has done. But has she specifically answered the question?
Did she give a yes or no answer? No. But did she give examples of how it's yes? Yes, she has. So, I mean, I think it's easy to say that when you don't like a person, you're going to easily find something that you don't like, or you're going to pick apart what they say. I mean, it's easy to cherry pick someone that you don't like. So,
No,
I mean, I can easily,
I can tell you right now, when Trump was at the debate. No, because when Trump was at the debate, I was just like, no, there's a couple of things at the debate that I think that Trump didn't fully answer. So it doesn't matter to me whether it's Trump or her. But like I said, I understand politicians do the roundabout. But again, this is not the first time she has not answered this question. This is the second time.
I mean, but
So
that's
what?
the thing. To you, she didn't answer the question, but to me, she has answered the question. So there may be a lot of other people that agree with me, and there are going to be a lot of people in your comments that are
Well,
going to agree with you. So
see, who she doesn't have to get is you or me, right? Because you're voting for her, and I'm not.
right,
The
right.
people that were undecided said that she didn't answer the question.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you said the who said that she didn't answer the question?
The people. So I got a video coming out about polls. The people in the middle, right? Meaning like they might be conservative or liberal, but they're undecided in general, right?
Correct.
So they said she didn't answer the question. So
Man,
if the people that you gotta try to convince said you didn't answer the question,
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean,
it begs to
it's
say, like,
okay.
you're not you've had time, right? Since that
Mm-hmm.
debate. You've heard the people say that you did not answer that question. So now you can go back and strategize and say, okay, I need to remember something to answer this question because this might be something that they're going to ask me. And she still doesn't answer
Okay.
the question.
I mean, so the correct response to this from which you or any person would have preferred would have been just a yes, we are better off than what we were 4 years ago. And then
Well, how
no
it's usually structured, right? When you talk to someone and answer a question is usually, hey, did you take out the trash? Well, it is Tuesday, and on Tuesdays, I usually take, the trash. And no, you would say, yes, I took out the trash because today is Tuesday, and Tuesdays are our trash days, and yada 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 yada. Right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's
so I
the
personally like
structure. That's the
anecdote.
structure of an actual,
Yeah, I
question,
respect that.
and that's what I'm saying. It's never a straight and narrow. And it would be fine if they didn't highlight this during the debate. They did not at a whims, did they let Trump do that. They kept pushing back. No, 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 no. That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. No. So, sir, is that a yes or no? No, sir, is that a yes or like? So if we do that same thing and be comparable to Kamala, she's not answering the question. She's yet to answer that specific question. And now, from the last thing that she just said, she's now going into a different topic.
Right. I mean, I got the answer from it. So I personally did. I'm not inferring what I think she means. It's pretty obvious with the
But why do I have to? Why do I have
after.
to pick around and figure out the answer when you
I
can
don't
just
know
tell
why
me
she
yes or
speak
no?
like that. I can't speak for why. I can't answer why she speak like that. But did I get the answer out of what she's saying? Yes, I did. She's trying to say, okay, compared to this, this is what's happened. She's doing a compare and contrast, and also pretty much saying, yes, there is a difference from when 4 years ago. So should she have just said yes? I'm not disagreeing with that. Yes, she should have just went out and said yes, and they could say, oh, can you explain why the country is different now 4 years later? So I do understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, and so that's one of my, one of the things I wish that these journalists will push back on, because whether I I want to vote for Kamala or not, I'm not going to get if I was a person that was not too versed in politics, I'm not going to get a clear and concise notice out of it, and the polls are showing it, because you're not they think they're helping her by doing this. It's not helping her, right? You want to, and I'll give Chris Cuomo this. He actually said that you wanna focus on her policies, but by letting her ramble, by letting her go here, there, and everywhere, you're not putting them front and center.
Correct.
So now you have a bunch of undecideds that are just like, I don't know what she's talking about, and she lost me.
People undecided, that's, I mean, more power to them. Bless their heart. Hopefully they figure it out by November 5th.
But but I'm gonna move into the next point of hers in here that I thought was pretty interesting, and it's, let's see, I think it's 26. Here we go. What is it? 26, 20. All right. We can start remembering.
Slavery. I mean, let's talk about the Delta here in terms of the work that needs to be done. It's profound.
Okay, so just to set it up, she's about to go into, well, the journalist is about to go into Springfield.
Madam Vice President, I want to move to Springfield, Ohio, and what's happening there. We've seen school closures, parents worried about their kids leaving the home because of racist conspiracy theories that I won't repeat here, but they have been repeated by leaders on the Republican side, President Trump, Vice President, former President Trump, and Vice Presidential nominee jdvance. From your perspective, is this just a case of irredeemable racism that can't be mitigated by any rational action, or is this a situation in which a federal response could help this community heal? There's a question of resources and
Well, no, I'll let you finish and then I'll speak.
No.
It's a crying shame. I mean, my heart breaks for this community. You know, there were children, elementary school children, who it was school photo day. You remember what that's like? Going to school on picture day? Who were dressed up in their best, got all ready, knew what they were going to wear the night before, and had to be evacuated. Children. A whole community put in fear. And I'll say a couple things about it. One, you know, I learned a long time ago in my career, having a background as a prosecutor, when you have these positions, when you have that kind of microphone in front of you, you really ought to understand at a very deep level how much your words have meaning. I learned at a very young stage of my career that the meaning of my words could impact whether somebody was free or in prison. As Attorney General, I was of California, 5th largest economy in the world. I was acutely aware that my words could move markets. When you are bestowed with a microphone that is that big, there is a profound responsibility that comes with that. That is an extension of what should not be lost in this moment, this concept of the public trust. To then understand what the public trust means. It means that you have been invested with trust to be responsible in the way you use your words, much less how you conduct yourself. And especially when you have been and then seek to be again President of the United States of America. And so I go back to, it's a crying shame, literally. What's happening to those families, those children in that community, not to mention what is happening in terms of, look, you say you care about law enforcement resources being put into this because of these serious threats that are being issued against a community that is living a productive, good life before this happened. And spewing lies that are grounded in tropes that are age old. And look, I said it not very far from here the other day at the debate. This is not new. This is not new in terms of these tropes. This is not new in terms of where it's coming from. And, you know, whether it is refusing to rent to people, rent to Black families, whether it is taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times against 5 innocent Black and Latino teenagers, the Central Park 5, calling for their execution, whether it is referring to the first Black president of the United States with a lie, birther lies, And look, the American people deserve, and I do believe want better than this. I do believe that. I know the vast majority of us as Americans know we have so much more in common than what separates us. I know that. I know.
Okay. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on it. And then I'm gonna give mine.
All right. So first things first. I mean, I know I'm a long-winded person, so I'm gonna keep it short and brief because that was enough, right? And it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. I can't even lie on that. It was a lot. But overall, the messaging is I understand the point. Like somebody's probably like, oh, she didn't answer the question. She didn't answer the question. When Trump answers a question, then come and holler at your girl. But right now, he don't really answer the best questions either. So what I can say is she still said mention time. And sometimes it's like, just focus on just answer the question. So I get a lot of your perspectives because I don't want people to try to call me out in the comments. The one thing I will say about the comment section, because I am following the comments, is just be respectful, because you don't have to agree with me, but you can at least be respectful on how you comment to me, because I'm a Democrat and I'm a liberal, but you still should respect where a person's coming from, because if not, you're just as crazy as the other Trump supporters. And I don't want to put y'all in that group because y'all on Mika's platform and I don't want to think y'all crazy, but keep it respectful, keep it cute, very demure, all that. Back to the subject at hand, which is like, should she have answered the question? Sure, answer the question. But he doesn't very much answer questions either. And so that's the part where it's like you cannot we keep calling one side out, but we're doing the same thing. Like, it's like, oh, she lied, but you lied too. So we keep doing all that. That's a part of the confusion right there. That's a part of the misinformation that's put out there. But she should have just got straight to the point. Kamala wrote a damn book and all that in that amount of time that she said to get the answer. It's just a quicker way to get the answer out. Just like, hey, what do you think of it? Do you think what he's saying is wrong? Just say that it's wrong. Like, hey, why do they keep having this obsession with cats, between cat ladies and people killing cats and taking cats? Like, it was another way to quicker, like, just get straight to the point. Just get to the point. We don't need all of like the anecdotes and stuff.
Well, but before I give my thoughts on it, I definitely agree with the get to the point, because again, remember I said she doesn't have to prove to you or me.
Right.
The people in the middle, I'm telling you, they're like, you lost me. Okay. Where they're asking direct questions, right? And whether you like Trump or not, usually the people that don't like Trump, they say they don't like him because they know his policies, right? They don't like him. Okay, cool.
Right.
Though. And
Correct.
vice versa on the other side. But the people in the middle are like, yeah, I'm trying to, but I can't get to it. So there we definitely agree. But on the rest of it, here's the thing. They asked her about Ohio. So I did a focus on just pretty much the whole debate, right? And I did a focus on whether, the stuff that they said that he lied about, and then the stuff that they said, Kamala lied about. So in talking right here, just here, Kamala said a couple of things. She said the Central Park Five. If we all are going to be demonized for what we did as private citizens, then a lot of people should not run. And that is a fact, because to keep bringing that up, and I know why they bring it up, because they don't have an actual policy where they can say he went to Black people and denied them something, right? So they go to when he was a private citizen and say, oh, he didn't want, he took out an ad. Okay, he took out an ad, and let's just talk common sense, right? Forget it's Donald Trump. Let's just talk common sense. A man took out an ad on 5 boys that they said in the media, and this is New York City, which is Democrat, always has been. Okay. That they said in the media that these boys did it. They also pled guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents, all that agreed with it. The prosecutors who are Democrats.
That was messed up.
Right. But you find out this stuff, hold on, but you find out that stuff later. We're talking about during. So during, the prosecutors who are also Democrats, the judges who are also Democrats, and their peers who are also Democrats sitting up there, they all said that these boys were guilty. So somebody with money said, oh, they're guilty. Okay. I'm going to go put out an ad about it. So he's a private citizen. Everybody's already said he's guilty. So now it comes back that down the line that they learned that these boys were done wrong. They weren't done wrong by Republicans. And you can say that the whole case was racist. Okay. Well, who would be racist? That would be Democrats, because New York is ran by Democrats. All of them. It's always Democrats there. It's always. That's all who wins there. So that's just like DC. If something happens in DC, it's Democrats. You're never going to get a Republican there, right? Okay. So what I'm saying is, how can you then use it goes against the narrative that Democrats aren't racist because you just put 5 boys up without even figuring it out. You put 5 boys up and said, hey, to me, they're just.
That was a lot. That was a lot. I mean, quite frankly.
Well, what I'm saying is they're only degrading Trump for something that was in the media that everybody at every step in the judicial system said that they were guilty. That, like, I don't care what they want to come up with.
Well, why did he feel?
Don't make no sense. And for her to keep repeating that doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, so even still, like, we can, it becomes a Democratic Republican thing on how we want to,
No, that's why I took Democrat and Republican out of it. And I took Donald Trump out of it.
The Central Park 5. Regardless of whatever side you was on, what was done to them young boys was wrong. I don't care how you want to look at it. Like, I mean, whether it was the police, the DA, even down to Trump adding a cherry on the top because he didn't have to do anything. He just added an extra layer to that. And it's unfortunate.
But plenty of people take out billboard ads all the time.
Huh?
Plenty of people. You can go up and down 95. People do this all the time.
Just because you can do something don't necessarily mean it's ethical or right. I can do a lot of things. I can step on your shoe for no reason, but that doesn't mean that it's right for me to step on your shoe. Now, I mean, some people honestly.
Okay, so why doesn't Kamala call? But I'm asking, why doesn't Kamala call out? Why doesn't Kamala call out her Democratic buddies?
Why she don't call out her Democratic buddies?
Yeah, why don't she call them out? She calls out a private citizen because he would have been a private citizen at the time, right? And I mean, he voted Democrat.
I can stop where you're coming from.
What I'm saying is, why only call out the private citizen who did not do a policy, who did not put these boys in jail?
But I mean, I think it's more or less like you went through all these lengths as a rich billionaire.
He didn't go through that. He just paid for an ad. You can do that. Me and you can pay for an ad.
Like, he could have spent this money for all that. Donate to a
Me
youth
and
shelter.
you can pay for an ad.
Donate to a youth boys shelter. If you felt so compelled to put a message out there, why not donate to a youth boys shelter or something of that capacity? Instead, you had time to put 5 boys in a newspaper ad, and they were innocent. My thing is this: if that was my son, anybody else's son, the fact that your child has to already go through this and they didn't even do a crime and then they got it up in the newspaper, that's a slap in any mother's face if your child ain't did it. So
the parents, their parents said they did it.
Even if they didn't do it though, the fact that they had to
but you're talking about something that's found out later that another private citizen had to go and do.
But so my thing is this:
why didn't the Democrats do it? Why didn't the Democrats do the research?
I get where you're coming from and trying to push this on the Democratic, and how come Kamala is not pushing this on the Democratic? They're not running for president, as y'all all keep saying. They're not running for president. Trump is running for president. The fact that he wasn't even allowing Black people to come into his his condominiums back in the 70s. The fact that fast forward,
that's not what happened. But I'm gonna let you go ahead.
And stuff like that, like. My thing is this: he's shown us who we are. Y'all keep drinking the freaking Kool-Aid. If y'all want to drink the red Kool-Aid, then by all means, have it. But I'm drinking the blue Kool-Aid.
But taking out an ad
in these comments or whatever.
But taking out an ad. But taking out an ad does not make you racist. Hold on. Taking out an ad does not make you racist.
That's
Taking
whack, though.
okay. Well, then that means the Democratic Party is racist because by the same measure, they were the ones that sent them there.
But they're racist on both sides.
No. Y'all do not say that the Democratic Party is racist.
I say both sides have issues.
No,
I always
they
say
are.
that. I never say nothing other than that. I say there's a fucked up stuff on both sides. You have never heard me say that there are no racism.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not saying you per se. I'm saying the general consensus is the Republicans are racist and Democrats are for Black people. Well, how are you for Black people when you didn't even do the work you actually sent for? I'm gonna tell you why they did it. Because in the 90s they had it out for Negroes. Okay, and those were Democratic policies. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Remember super predators? So they were already marked because Hillary Clinton said, "Super predators, go ahead." So you got all of these people who just ran for president. They didn't bring that up not once. That she said that she was talking about them Central Park boys. They didn't bring that up once.
I mean, I'm gonna be quite frank with
and
you.
she was
when I was a child. But me being now and being aware of what's going on with it, I totally feel like, hey, as a parent, like even watching the movie, when they don't see us. When they see us, please correct me in the comments. But in that film, it breaks my heart to see that this had to happen, especially to some young boys or whatever. Because do you know how many times that happens that we don't even know about? Like, how many Black men are in jail for crimes that they did not do?
Ask Kamala. She definitely knows. Ask Kamala. She definitely knows. She has jailed some of them.
No, because even those numbers are skirred, like that skirred or whatever.
But I don't care if it was one or two. Hold on.
But
I'm not even about to debate numbers. I'm saying I don't care if it's one or two. She was in office and she did it. So what I'm saying is there is a concerted effort. If you're saying there is a concerted effort against Black boys, well, the Democratic Party in New York did that to those Central Park boys, and Kamala has done it in California, which is Democratic. He has done it to Black men there.
She also did a program for young Black boys for the first time offense, the second act, where the young boys they were like the second chance.
So are you saying that
so what she did was young boys that were first-time offenders, they allowed them to get right back on track program that allowed them to re-enter the system or do other types of volunteer work within the state of California, in which people like Angela Alsobrook has tried to adapt some of those things into the state of Maryland. At the end of the day, people don't want.
Does that wash what she did?
But you can't say that you don't want criminals on the street. You call the immigrants criminals. So this woman actually has a job, and one of her jobs is, unfortunately, when people come in here and do a crime, there's unfortunately a time that's associated with that. The woman did her job. So at the end of the day, when people start talking about she extending it and making the people staying there longer, that's where there's blurred lines on that part right there.
Oh no, that's because California and I'll give her some of this. She did it. She did that, but California as a whole has an issue with prison. Okay, and that's because a lot of the money that goes into private prisons, right, with California. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to hold a private citizen to those standards, you're going to have to hold the politicians. And at the time, Kamala has been a politician that has done that to Black men, as well as hide evidence. Where the Democratic governor had to tell that lady, give up the evidence. He did a whole press conference on it.
I also read that
as far as integrity goes, that's saying to me that you didn't want everybody to know.
There's also a conflicting story that counters that story. So
but everything can be countered because you brought up the fact. I let you talk about the fact that Donald Trump didn't want to didn't want to let Black people in. When Trump Towers, he allowed a Black woman to stay there for free. No, I'm just saying. You say, you always say there's more. You know, there's more to the story. Or when I said the thing about Kamala, you said, well, she did a program. Okay, then I can go. Okay, you said the Central Park 5, but then Donald Trump was also the main funder of Jesse Jackson's run. He was the main. He was the main funder. What I'm saying is, if Kamala stuff washes what she has done, then Trump ought to get the Pulitzer Prize for that, because he's done way more than Kamala's done.
That's my point.
I'm saying he's done way more for Black people. No, I'm saying he's done way more for Black people than Kamala has done.
Lies. That's a bold.
When has hold on? Okay. So let's run it down real quick. Has Kamala funded a whole campaign? No, has Kamala funded a whole campaign? She has not. Has Kamala? No, that is not a lie. I can literally pull it up. We have the internet.
No,
we have the internet. It exists.
Micca, I'm not going to have that conversation with you, because I know my facts on the conversation, so we can go to the next topic respectfully.
But you're saying
no, because you're saying that Trump did more for Black people than Kamala Harris.
Yes, it's a fact.
That would be crazy to continue to have that conversation. So let's go to the next topic.
But
I'd much rather go to the next topic, please.
My point in it all is, if you're going to give Kamala Harris allowances, then you're going to have to give them for Trump. But she's allowed to bring up the Central Park 5.
What I'm saying.
So how is that? How is that able to?
She can. Y'all bring up her stuff as DA. He hasn't been in office.
That's a public office.
Yes, he was a private citizen. What I will say is this: Trump, the businessman, and Trump, the politician, they're two different people. People have more respect for Trump as a businessman than they do as a politician. I choose to respect the fact that people want to support him the same way I want people to respect where I come from. When it comes to politicians, there are good and bad, pros and cons on both sides. When it comes to Kamala Harris, I focus on the positives because I am aware of the negative things that come with her. And just being aware of her negative things, or the things that people can use against her, is half the battle. But then I focus on the pros, in which the thing she has done for me as a Black woman, says this check that I just got from my student loans last week for Kamala Harris and the Biden administration, giving that to me. So as a respect to that, when people say they vote for Trump and they have all these wonderful things that they get from Trump, I don't excuse that, because that's great for him. But I'm not going to sit here and act like Trump has been the saving grace for Black people, because that's a bald-faced lie.
I've never said that. I've never said that. We were talking about something specific. And what I'm saying is, if you're going to condemn Donald Trump on the merit of private citizen, then you would have to condemn Kamala.
Okay, I mean, people can say, what I'm saying to you is this.
And they do not.
They're both, neither one of them are whatever. They couldn't. Trump was never in office to base it off his political.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So the racist narrative, you have to give. So why don't we give a racist narrative from his policies, instead of keep going back to 1990 when he was a private citizen and didn't have nothing to do with those boys being in jail? Why don't we go to his policies, that we literally have a whole Trump presidency? That was my point in all of that. That was my point. Why don't you go to his presidency and say,
y'all don't?
No, I'm talking about it would be fine if she said this policy is racist. Cool.
No, this is me. Even if I were to say, let me be independent, if I wanted to be in the middle of this, I want people to speak more on the benefits that whatever policies that are beneficial in general, whether it be for the country or whether it be for Black people. It don't necessarily have to affect me directly. I'm saying that my student loans were affected, and no, I couldn't afford to go to school. Yes, I came from a single family household where my mother died when I was 11. My father couldn't afford to send me to school per se. So yes, I got student loans. Yes, I'm thankful that I was able to get forgiveness from the Harris-Biden administration, because with that, I have a degree, and now I can go and work in certain places as a result and pay taxes back into the same country that helped me pay off my student loan. So you see how that all works, where if you actually invest into people and people do actually good by those investments, you can actually see the benefits and how it actually affects the country. That is what I've seen as a result of the Biden-Harris administration. You have more Black small businesses that have been created over the past 4 years or 3.5 years that they've been in office. Y'all can do the fact check on that. They've also been in charge of more people having employment. Yes, unfortunately, Donald Trump had the pandemic that was on his watch, but as a result,
so what were the numbers before the pandemic? Hold on, what was the numbers? Hold on, what was the numbers before the pandemic?
What were the numbers before the pandemic?
Donald Trump had higher Black employment,
but now
than
since
the quote unquote than the quote unquote first Black president ever had.
Okay, so I don't even know the numbers on that, but I will say
I do, because I did. What I'm saying is I do. I'm not even going to go into it. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about. Are we talking about the pandemic? Or are we talking about the whole entire time? Because remember, the pandemic happened at the end, and the very end of Trump's presidency. Right. So what happened from 2016 up until the pandemic? They don't talk about. They only talk about pandemic because that's the only time it dipped.
I mean,
because everything closed. So this is what I mean by fluctuating the numbers. If you want to say like how this lady here, right? She agrees with you. This is fine, right? Like stuff like this. Look, no, this stuff like this is fine because we can debate and pull up policy, right? I don't mind this.
Right, but his policies did not help.
But look, listen to what I'm saying. I don't mind this. Right. What I do mind is trying to bring up something from somebody being a private citizen and then saying, yeah, that's his nature. He's a private citizen. I'm sure if I go and look up what Kamala has done as a private citizen, matter of fact, while she was in office,
I mean,
it would be very immoral. And again, I keep saying I don't try to talk about that stuff because it has nothing to do with her policies, because I really don't care what she does outside of her office.
Okay, but you know what? Even if we bring up this something from like however many years, the Central Park 5, however many years ago, guess who's still considered the Central Park 5? Guess who still has to live with the fact that they, one, had to go to jail for a crime that they didn't do. And then here it is, the now president, that's the person that's running for office right now, is the same person that put you in that type of position where it was broadcasted on that main.
Were they mad at Hillary Clinton?
It's right. I'm not saying that it's
running
right.
For office, and she said they were guilty too, and she ran for office. She said they were guilty.
Who was this?
Hillary Clinton. Were they mad then?
Lord Jesus, Hillary is another topic for a whole.
No, we know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
that's
he's running for office. Okay, yes, he did that. But he's running for office. Right. Hillary Clinton also said that they were guilty. She ran for office same time Donald Trump did.
Right. But even then, do I?
Nobody put that on her.
Before somebody even say this, I will say I don't know if Hillary ever came back and took accountability, and if she hasn't,
Hillary ain't taking no accountability.
I definitely always say for a person, take accountability. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
You know,
Hillary made a statement or whatever. No, I get your point. I'm playing devil's advocate. I understand your point in the sense of like, why are we going all the way back? Why don't we focus on the current facts of the things that whatever? And I mean, quite frankly, we can just go off his current facts. I mean, to me, that's enough for me to say he does not have my vote.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that's why I put that lady's comment up there, because I'm okay with debating the facts. What I'm not okay with is debating something when somebody wasn't even in office or even thinking about running at the time. Like, that makes no sense to me, right? So I always like to point that out, because she keeps bringing that up. Like, this is not pundits bringing it up. This is the presidential candidate bringing it up. Mm-hmm. So that is my concern on that, right?
I mean, it's the same way like you keep saying her name wrong and stuff like that. It's like, to me,
her name is Indian. So I looked that up. Uh-huh. Her name is Indian, and that's how they say it in India.
but that's not how she says it. So you should respect how she
But
says the
I'm
name.
not mispronouncing it. That is how the name
They say it that way. So that's like my name is my real name is Jewel. My parents name me Julia. People can say my name Julia. Some people say Julie. My name is Julia. So if you're going to refer to me as anything, you either refer to me as Julia, say it right, or you say Jules if you can't say it at all. So
right,
it's like,
but what is it referring?
It's a
What is
level of
it saying?
respect.
I'm not. What is it referring to? What is it
Like, I
referring to?
saw this black
If I
guy.
mispronounce it, I'm racist.
No, what it's saying is that the level of respect that you have for the current vice president, it says a lot. It says a lot, period.
Oh,
And it's almost as if,
I definitely could say
I
definitely could say a lot.
Your name is Shaniqua and your name is Sean. It's like, come on now, have some respect. Put some respect on my name. I ain't just get here because I was whatever thinking like everything you think I am. Have some respect for this woman's name.
You said she didn't get here because of what?
Whatever you may think, however,
no,
she had
no,
to
it's
get
not
there.
what I think.
She didn't sleep with somebody to get to Howard.
It's not what I think.
All
It's
these
not what I
positions
think.
that people kind of say she did. My thing is this: like,
That's not what I think.
People are so, I think it's this: if people are so smart and intelligent, say her name right. That's it. It don't. If you can look up facts, if you can look up numbers, if you can look up statistics and stuff like that, say this woman's name right. It ain't that hard. It's not. So to me, those are things where people continuously try to put people down and they don't even realize what they're doing. But then if somebody else call you out and say something wrong to you, then you like, oh my gosh, they said this wrong. Like, you can't play victim and be the bully at the same time.
I don't get how, Donald Trump will be the, bully, because he doesn't say he doesn't say anything to the mainstream media in the way that the mainstream media talks about him. But Joe Biden said, I'm going to take you out in the back and okay. But he's not a bully.
They all bullies if that's the case now.
I mean, but that's what he said. But I'm repeating what he said. But we'll move to the next topic real quick. So there is, as you know, the ABC controversy with the fact checking, with the whistleblower. So I wanted to get, your thoughts on that. And let me know what you think about everything that's going on. So I'm going to bring this up. Actually, I want to get your thoughts on the debate first, and then I'm going to play it.
The debate,
because I didn't get to get your thoughts that night. So excuse me.
I mean, like a lot of people said, if I wanted to just like blank canvas, because I wanted to give both of them the opportunity to actually show me why they deserve to be in their positions. And so with that being said, I mean, I saw a lot of people comments that neither one of them answered the right questions. In which case, one of my favorite lines, though, is one of my favorite lines, and obviously it comes from Kamala. He said something too. He did say something real funny, and I was just like, "Sheesh, that was a funny one." Like, I laughed at it, but I was a little drunk on my birthday, so I don't remember. But I do remember her saying, like, 81 million people fired you already. It's like, and I think you're having a hard time coming to the terms of that. And there was a lot of times where she did dive off into different things, in which, she did the same thing where she just did with the National Black Journalist, where she kind of told a story and then got to the answer. And then on his part, I thought he was much better than what I was expecting. So kudos to him. What I didn't like is like he didn't seem very inviting. I know that this is like a debate, but he didn't seem like, I want him to show like, all right, you go to these rallies and you're like this bubbly guy and stuff like that. I would have liked to kind of see him more relaxed into it, but I think he was trying to stay in character so he can, demand respect or charge, or however you want to say it. So he did much better than I thought. I thought both of them could have been more precise with answering their questions. But overall, I mean, let's just be real. It was a complete circus in so many capacities because of, just the way just the way things are, it's just like a bit like the government. This election is a little bit of a circus right now, and I'm just tired of the name calling and just not getting to the answers. Just get straight to the point. If you are so good at what you do, you don't need to knock another person to make yourself feel better. You are proof in your pudding. So and I think she did win it, though. I will say that. So personally.
Okay. So I'm going to play actually from ABC. As we know, the controversy was the fact that the ABC host or moderators, sorry, ABC moderators did not do their job, right? It was and this is from bipartisan, okay? That they did not fact check both. Okay? So I didn't mind the fact checking, right? The quote unquote fact checking. What I had a problem with, again, is that it wasn't both sides. Like, if we're going to do it, let's do it.
Both
right?
sides. I agree.
And so I did, in the video I did about fact checking, this was right after the debate, right? CNN said they had only found where she lied one time, right? And then I did a video on Monday, and CNN over the weekend put a story on their website to show all the time that they caught her in a lie. So I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, wait, look, I don't care. I don't care. Let's just actually do it if we're going to do this stuff. Right? Or else do not. Me personally, I think the candidates should fact check. And the reason why I think that is because it allows me to see how much the other candidate knows. Right?
No, I don't trust that.
No. Listen to what I just said. You know, whatever you think you know about Donald Trump, right? If the candidate is so informed on politics, they should be able to say what actually happened, what is wrong. What me and you could sit here and do this, so why can't they?
I don't trust this. That's part of the problem, which is the misinformation, because you don't know who to believe.
Right.
You don't know who to believe. Like no one knows.
Well, now you can't believe. Now you can't believe the moderators. Now you can't believe the moderators. And a lot of liberals were even upset at Mueller because at Mueller. I'm sorry. Because they were like, "Where's the integrity?" Because if you're going to push back on something, you got to do it on both sides. And it was clear that they didn't push back on something that they clearly, like, everybody, me and you had the video where I showed you what he said after the fine on both sides, right?
Yes.
So the media has come to a consensus from Republican and yes, that he did not say that. Okay. She repeated it. And they did not push back on it and say that was wrong. That actually was not what he said, right? And they don't have to be rude about it, but you know, Madam VP, that's actually not what he said, because they did that when Trump said, no, that's actually the city official. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Never happened.
Yes, I remember.
Right. So that was really my only issue with the debate. That, like, if we're gonna do something, come on, let's do it on both sides. Because again, I know, because I'm informed. But if I'm a person in the middle, and that's why the polls afterwards said they didn't know, people didn't know nothing. Whether they
so confused.
There were some people that said, "Well, I want to vote for Kamala," but they didn't ask her one policy question.
I had a friend say they vote for Jesse Jackson after the debate. So, like, I mean, it was real ghetto. It was like, I know quite a few independents, and they were like, I'm voting for Jesse Jackson. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. I'm voting for, just random people. I'm voting for myself. A lot of people say I'm gonna vote for myself.
But again, you do her a disservice, because that is not, like I keep saying, I'm not voting for that woman, but I am on the side of the people that want to vote for her for whatever reason, right? I don't have to agree with it. But if I was them, I'm looking at it like I can't even vote for the daggone woman because you didn't ask her nothing. You allow her to keep just softballing, and then you didn't push back on anything that was wrong. So how am I to get informed, information? Like, I just think that the media is the rhetoric and the stuff that they're doing. You got to stop it, right? But
I mean,
I
I
want to
heard
get
the
into.
answers. I heard some of the answers. I mean, I did hear some of the answers, but it was almost like you had to cherry pick it to get the meat and the potatoes of it, if that makes sense. And I think for some people that are undecided, they just like I said before, get to the point. You know what I'm saying? People's attention span is 30 seconds. If you don't get to the answer in 30 seconds, these people don't care no more.
You're absolutely correct. So I wanted to get to ABC because even though I don't like how they did it, I was intrigued that this one lady calls herself, pushing back a little bit when, they were doing something post debate, and she had this to say. Give me 1 second.
So, the debate, we've moved on from the debate. It's about the campaign. Governor, I want to go back to the debate because that was important, and I want to go through a few things that Kamala Harris said. I want to ask you about her comments about the military. She said during the debate this about the U.S. military. Let's listen.
As of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century.
Our fact checkers found that to be false, and I have a lot of experience in that area as well. There are currently 900 U.S. military personnel in Syria, 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq. All have been under regular threat from drones and missiles for months. We also have action in the Red Sea. We also, every single day, the Navy SEALs, Delta Forces, special operators can be part of any sort of deadly raid. So why would she make that claim?
Well, I think what's important here, Martha, is that Kamala Harris, in contrast to Donald Trump, demonstrated herself to be commander-in-chief. We are in a world where there are all sorts of conflicts, and it's all the more reason we need somebody who's serious and who supports the military. And just remember,
but Governor, excuse me, but she said there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone. That is not true. You say she demonstrated her ability to be commander-in-chief, but did she not know about these people in Syria and Iraq? Why would she say that?
Look, that was a comment. That was a comment in a debate. I think the point that she was trying to make was a broader point. And of course, we have military in place all around this country. That's important. We're the United States of America.
You see what I'm saying? How that doesn't help,
Yeah.
right? And this is not even a shot at Kamala, because she said whatever she said, right? For whatever reason, she said it.
Right.
You don't help the woman by sitting here. Like, she can come back later and correct herself like most politicians do. But you don't help it by the woman she just asked you a direct question. See, now that is what they were doing in the debate to Donald, right? What she just did. She pushed back on something. Hey, I asked you a question. You trying to go all around it. I asked you a question. This is what she's asking. So you then allow by not asking a question and ducking it, you allow now this lady to say, oh, well, you said she was, she demonstrated being commander-in-chief. Now she get to put some extra sauce on it because you didn't answer the question straight up and say, she misspoke. Or, maybe she didn't have all the numbers at the time. Something other than just acting like whatever. Now
I'm always always say be accountable. If you're wrong, the same people that are going to be loud and wrong, you need to be loud when you are able to admit that you're wrong. So if you're wrong, just admit that you're wrong, because see, people can get over the fact if a person acknowledges where they're wrong, because by acknowledging, you can say, okay, well, I'm gonna do better next time. That means like, hey, I did something wrong, I'm gonna do better. That means, hey, you're accountable. So in this event, I will say they shouldn't go easy on her. No. I think they should go easy on her? No. They give her the same stuff, the same smoke, but at the same time, they're dealing with two different types of people. So I might, if I were to meet Donald Trump today, tomorrow, I'm going to have I might say all the stuff I say right here on him, but I'm still going, if I meet the man in person, I'm still going to treat him with respect, not just because he is the former president, but just because he's a person and he deserves that. Until he does something wrong to me in my face, I have no beef with the guy. And same with Kamala Harris. But I also think that they have to hold both of them accountable. So no, she should not get a slap on the wrist.
That's why I didn't mind the fact checking. Like I said, the fact checking was fine with me. If you want to fact check what Donald Trump is saying, that is perfectly fine. But you end up losing the respect of your own base. And I'll say this. If Fox News was able to do a town hall or whatever, and they only gave Trump these nice questions when I already know questions that you can give him, like get a man some questions where we can learn something. Like I already know this. You know
right, but
I mean?
even if they don't tell the truth, you gotta give the facts that coincide with that, because you don't want people to leave misleaded, leave this conversation and still be like, well, wait a minute, what just happened? So some people may think like, oh, okay, she really did pull all the people out the thing. And since they did not correct it right away, they're thinking everything is cool with them. And then I seen a video where, they were still there, like the gag.
Yeah, and that makes and you got to think, because I do have a lot of family members that did serve, and they're like, I podcast with people that have been members of the military or that are actively in the member. So it's just like, what are you saying to the people that have to, support you regardless if they're voting for you or not, because they're going to be under your leadership? You're just like, yeah, never mind them. There's no active people. You know what I'm saying? And then double down on it and then repeat it. So I'm starting to feel like maybe they want to use this as a talking point, because she repeated it on the campaign trail. And I was just like, I know y'all have like all the money that they talk about she didn't raise. I know y'all got, better handlers than this to not let her repeat that, or not let her repeat certain points.
On retrospect, and I mean, granted, yes, they needed to fact check her. But the thing about it is, I've heard Mr. say some things that are just outlandishly inaccurate. And so that's where it's unfortunate. Let me tell you, there's different liars. It's different types of liars, and the different types. You got storytellers and you got liars, and then you got some people just going to fabricate or elaborate on the truth. And the reality is, I have seen him just blatantly lie. He said,
well, what does the media do?
And he said, yeah, they have caravans. I think I came up with that word, caravan. You did not come up with the word caravan. That's like Romeo and Michelle coming up with Post-its. I mean, for goodness sake, you cannot lie blatantly to the American people, whether you're at a rally, whether you're at a debate, whether you're anywhere.
Oh, I think he was talking about caravan, when they was talking about the he's not talking about the word caravan. You know how he came up with fake news? He didn't come up with the word fake or news.
Right.
He came up with the phrase. I think what he's saying is he came up with the phrase, but let's just say he was lying, right? The news, the mainstream media news is going to make sure they highlight it. The problem again is the fact that even if you don't like Trump, those people are saying, I always hear everything here. How come I don't? And then some of those people even went and looked at the polling and looked at most of the mainstream media. It's 97% favorable. So that tells me that there's a propaganda to push one candidate.
Right. I don't agree with the propaganda. I think that you gotta call both people out. If I'm lying, call my ass out on a lie. If I'm not 100%, call me out on it by all means. But if I call you out on the same lie or whatever, you got to be open ears. So both of them, at the end of the day, if you're going to misspeak on whatever you say, be able to be woman enough, man enough to say, hey, I misspoke. I was, these are the facts. at least give the American people that justice, so it won't be just reported, oh, Kamala said this, instead of Kamala just coming out and saying, hey, I know I said bam, 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 but da-da-da-da. Does it make it better? No, it's not going to erase the fact that you misspoke or told a lie, a blatant lie, or someone say, oh, well, why is it that she just misspoke and when he does it, it's a lie? I mean, because
Yeah,
people have tried
and that was something that I called out in the fact check video, because when they said the one, and we're about to move to the last topic, but when they said she had the one lie on CNN, it was just so funny, because they were like, now she did have other, misleading, and I was like, wait. Let me look up the definition of misleading. It says false. So that means it's like you're playing word game with me.
Right.
So all I'm saying is I'm for the process, but it is overwhelming to the point where you have to talk about how disproportionate it is, right? If we were talking about when we were talking about and I think it started, honestly and truly, I think it started when you had Barack Obama, right? Because there was only one section of the mainstream sector that is quote unquote conservative. Everything else is liberal. So he had all this favorable, like Bill Clinton didn't even get under this, but he had all of this favorable, media coverage. And then anything negative or anything that questioned him, it got thrown to, oh, well, then you're racist if you question this. No, he's running for president and he's a person of color. Oh, well, he's going to get, so a lot of the media didn't want to be labeled racist. Correct. So back up off of stuff they wanted to question him on. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if you're going to do these things, you have to have the same measures across the board, or you're going to start turning people off. And then people that may so-called would have voted for her are just like,
no, yeah, I respect that. I mean, I feel like for me, as someone that is supporting her, the best thing I can do is like be account like, hey, if I can't speak for this woman, I'm not Kamala Harris. I was not in California and voted her into the positions that she was in. I'm just someone that values what she's trying to do. And at the end of the day, like if she's done something wrong, the same way I can be on my high horse and say, oh, she did this good, I should also be able to say like, hey, I don't agree with this over here, and hold her accountable just as much as I hold Trump accountable to the things that he's done. So the key for me is not just to focus in on Trump. The key for me is to make sure that we highlight not just the negative aspects of either candidate, but focus on the positive things that they both bring for this next term of election. That's all.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, this last point here is I found it. Where I found it on TikTok. So TikTok, we're having a lot of funny stuff on both of them, because there's this one guy that does Donald Trump, and then there's this lady that does Kamala, and it's just freaking hilarious. But like TikTok, like if you want to laugh at the political space, TikTok has it. They have a lot of other nonsense, but they definitely have a lot of laughs. But we were talking about one of her new policies, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, because I know we talked about the no tax tips, right? And as I said before, I'm okay with candidates adopting other things from candidates. But the mainstream media, and that's why I keep focusing on the media, the mainstream media had a fit about the no tax, that it was going to cost so much. But then when Kamala came out with it, it was, oh my God, this is revolutionary. It's just like, yeah, that's what Trump said. Right? So I found this little video. It's satire, but I wanted to know what you thought about the actual policy, and then we'll come back and wrap it up.
They're doing it again, folks. Yeah, take a look at this clip here. Trump signing an executive order to eliminate the requirement of needing a college degree to get a federal job. Take a listen.
Today, we're taking that next step, as you mentioned, and signing an executive order that directs federal agencies to hire based on skills and knowledge, not just outdated degree requirements. This will allow us to better recognize the talents and competencies of all Americans we hire.
Did you hear Kamala's new idea that she announced at her rally this weekend? Take a listen.
So as president, I will get rid of the unnecessary degree requirements for federal jobs to increase jobs for folks without a four-year degree, understanding that requiring a certain degree does not necessarily talk about one's skills.
You know, he's not right about everything, but man, is he right about so much. Remember when he said, I'm going to give her a MAGA hat?
She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
Phony. Complete phony.
So what did you think about the policy? I think the policy is good because I liked it before.
Okay, first, that was
The
the
MAGA
joke.
hat is funny. The MAGA hat joke
That
is
joke, that was the joke that I laughed when he said, like, I'm gonna send her a MAGA hat. My ass was bawling. Like, I was like, this dude is a character. But then I was also like, why am I laughing if this is the presidential debate?
because you're
No,
cool. Go ahead.
like, you know, look, let's just be real. Like, you know, we got brands out here, and everybody is always trying to you know, we got Coca-Cola and we got Pepsi, they all cola. And you just slap, you know, and one brand going, you know, people gonna love their Pepsi, and then some people gonna love their Coke. Okay, so it's funny how they blue and red. It's not funny because I think Coke came first, and so they red, and then the blue, bam, 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 blue, my favorite color. What I'm gonna say is this: like, do I agree with the policy? Yes. Mm-hmm. Do I agree with the fact that Kamala pretty much like ripped it? No, I don't agree with that. Like, I mean, I could say be more original, but I mean, like, we're in a world where everybody's just copying and pasting and putting their name on it. I mean, so at the end of the day, like, I get people's notion, like, if he was so bad with his policies, then how come she's taking it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it was like my man said, he's not right about everything, but he's right about a lot.
He's not right about everything. I mean, what we can say about Donald Trump, there's a lot, there's some good in that. There's some good in that. But there's also you have to be able to take the other part of that. And it's unfortunate that he does have some policies that are beneficial, but then there's the characteristical things that come with him that people can't put aside. And so did she rip the policy? I can't deny that she ripped the policy. The question now becomes, is she going to also do it?
At least they're ripping the good ones. I will give her that. At least they're ripping the good ones, because sometimes people don't rip good policies, but they're ripping good policies.
But the overtime,
my only
he presented that over the weekend, though. The overtime, like no tax on overtime. So now it's like, okay, like now I'm looking like, I'm like, okay, is she
that is really good, because it helps, because most Americans, right? Most Americans work those type of jobs to where, you know, they're going to have to, some of them have forced overtime, you know, police officers, nurses, firefighters, all that, right? But on top of that, if you want to get ahead, you're like, I'm gonna work more, I'm gonna do this. So why tax, right? And like we had this discussion before, the tax is, one, it's illegal, but two, you're overtaxed. You're taxing the same money. How do you do that? That makes absolutely no sense. So take that off. If somebody can have that, best believe it's going to be put back into the economy, right? And so
I'm interested to see how that one pans out.
And so
because I want to know if she's going to take that too. So I'm like,
and then with the policy, you know, that she just picked up, that was the reason why Trump probably did it in the first place. And the reason why she probably picked it up in the first place is because that was the standard back then, you didn't need a college degree to get these government jobs. Most of them people that's leaving, them boomers, they took the little civil test and they had a job. Because
some of them been there since they were teenagers
every-
because they had the program in
because you
DC.
didn't need it.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying. The media clouds all this stuff that you could be paying attention to. I understand that some people do not like his personality. Okay. That's fine. I'm a person that, you know, some people like, some people don't. And that's pretty much every human. But again, some people like people's personalities, sometimes they don't. Okay, cool, fine. But the media only wants you to focus on that as saying, okay, this person is just so evil and so much like Hitler, who actually unalived people and actually put them in chambers and did a lot of atrocious stuff, to a person that actually has policies that actually have benefited American people.
Right.
So I'm like, go ahead and debate the policies. Go ahead and do that. But to constantly put that on the back burner where American people, even if you're not going to still not vote for this man, at least you know what policies he does have. So if he gets in office, you do know that, well, I at least know I'll get this or I'll get that, or he wants to do this. Like you're informed. I think with rhetoric, the media doesn't allow you to be informed on either candidate.
No.
And
You're right about
that's my entire point with all of this. It's so one-sided that it doesn't benefit either candidate. It doesn't benefit the one that they really want and the one that they like. And it doesn't, because it doesn't allow the policies, and it doesn't benefit Trump because it doesn't allow the policies. Unless you actually go look it up, you will never hear that about Trump. You're not going to hear the policies. And then I don't know what they're afraid of, but they're so afraid of pushing her policies out there that they overshadow it. They overshadow it with all this other stuff. And it's just like, let the woman talk about her policies. Do you want them to only focus on race because that's all you talk about? Or do you want them to only focus on the fact that she's a woman? I don't care if she has a vagina. I don't care. I don't care. Tell me what you're going to do.
I mean, she's told me. She's told people what. I mean, she's told people what she's going to do, and yes, her policies are now on her website. And I'm gonna, you know, the fact that she has been in this position, what, like 3 months, almost 3 months now, as the candidate, I commend her team and the things that they're doing, as far as like how they're pushing the narrative about her. I just wish that we didn't focus so much on Trump. Quite frankly, I don't feel like we have to always do a compare and contrast. I don't feel like they need to do a compare and contrast. I do feel like both candidates and both teams should focus on what they do good. Highlight, like, if I'm so good, like I said earlier, if you're so good at something, if your policies are so great, focus on that. I don't need to put another person down and make myself look good, because when you good, I don't need to entertain anything that's beneath me, because it's not worth my time. So therefore, if I don't like somebody or if I don't like something, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on what's going to like make me better and make my lifestyle better. And so I hope people just vote in their interest this election. I mean, some people have helped me that I've received handouts or whatever, but you know, we're all born into different circumstances. Some people are born with a silver spoon. Some people are born in Haiti in a village, or however the case may be, but does that make them any less of a human? I just heard Donald Trump say that Haitians are animals. Like, they're not animals. Those are human beings. At the end of the day, the one race that matters to me the most is the human race. It's not about black, white, or whatever country you come from. Obviously, I want you to pay your taxes if you're here, but at the end of the day, it's the human race. And that's the focus that people and mainstream media, they keep us divided instead of focusing on the things that American people have in common.
And I'll say this. I do, as I've said before, you know, just by my own family, yes, you definitely have tons of stuff in common because we're all humans. Everybody wants the same thing. The problem comes in to me when we are a nation of laws, just like any other nation. You cannot go to Mexico and stay like some Americans have been trying to, and they got deported. So to say that deportation, not you, I'm just saying the media and everybody else, to say that deportation is racist, it is not. Okay, you're here illegally. All right. But as it pertains to the Haitians, here's the thing. You know, I live in a small town. You dump 20,000 people here, we're gonna feel it. And I assure you, I'll be up at that town hall asking where the hell did these people come from? I don't care that they're from Haiti. I don't care what they look like. Where the hell they come from? How they get here? And who money y'all plan on using to help them survive?
Correct.
I have that right. Right?
You
Like,
do.
and that's what I was upset that they didn't want to focus on, because here's the thing. I get wanting to focus on something salacious. Okay, but you focused on it now. Now go to the actual viewings of those commissions in those cities, right? Because I did one the other day on Alabama. In the small town of Alabama, and they were saying the same thing. They was like, "Hey, this like bunch of buses just showed up. Like, who are these people?" Right?
Right.
Because let's be clear, we're in the DMV area. In Virginia, they have a huge problem with what? Gangs coming from Venezuela, coming from Mexico. They got a huge
Not Venezuela.
MS-13. Oh
You're
yeah,
not
they
allowed
got
to say Venezuela no more. I heard Venezuela too much in the
yeah,
debate.
yeah. So yeah, the Fairfax County police are now talking about the Venezuelan gangs. Yeah, they're when I tell you that, like, if you thought the Bloods and Crips, they ain't got nothing
Nah, they
on
different.
on Latino guys. Okay.
No. I ain't even talking about because I ain't trying
And
to.
so what I'm saying is, black or white, guess who you're putting in danger? You're putting Americans in danger by ignoring the, oh well, it's racist to talk about. No, I'm telling you, I have family that are what? Immigrants. I keep telling y'all there's a difference in culture.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also realized that we also have local terrorists. We have local people that are like mass murderers.
Right. So if we got that,
we have our own
yes,
issue. That's
Chicago.
the problem where I'm like, how we
Chicago.
bringing more stuff in and we haven't even addressed the local
Chicago.
terrorists that are here. So
Chicago.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We need to address
Chicago
those.
got plenty of local terrorists. You're absolutely correct. And now they got to deal with what? On their dime.
Right.
So that all I'm saying is immigration is un-American because it does hurt Americans, whether they're black, whether they're white. You can stick them in that little white town, and you can stick them in the black urban cities. It's doing the same thing. Black people are showing up in record numbers at these meetings in Chicago. Those are not white people there. That's black people talking about send them back, send them back, send them back.
Well, I mean, even still, like one thing I did see, and it was a mixed report where some people were saying like they were illegal Haitians. Like what they're saying is they're actually legal, and due to the population and the economy, that so I want to make sure that it is known that they did say that they are legal.
Well, they're saying they're illegal because you cannot. So you cannot give somebody a status, right? That's where it's actually breaking the immigration law. The reason why they're saying they're legal is because the government did it, right?
Okay.
So the government allowed them to be here, but they're still breaking the actual immigration law.
Okay.
So technically, yes, they are illegal immigrants, but since the government allowed them to be here, they didn't just show up here.
They're legally
So
here.
that's the conduit between the both sides. So both sides are correct, essentially, right? The government is allowing them to be here. So they know they're here, but it's breaking the actual immigration law. So you're going against something. So that's why they're still saying, yeah, they're illegal because it's still breaking the law. So yes, essentially, but all I'm saying is it's putting a strain on these people. And they're what I learned from the Alabama thing is they're not even telling them. Okay. They're not telling the public. They're just throwing these people there. And they think that because these towns are small, nobody will say nothing. I'm like, you're in the wrong decade. This is the decade of everybody has a mic.
Right.
They're going to say something. And it's not racist to say somebody just showed up here. Did you vet them? Where are they coming from? That's not racist.
No, I mean that right there, we do need to do a better job. And I'm not one to stray when something is wrong. It's wrong. I mean, can the immigration system be better? Yes. Do we need to have a better approach on how we bring people into this country? Of course. There's a lot of room for improvement in this whole entire country. Like Kamala and Biden, they had the opportunity to do it for the past 3.5 years. When Trump was in office, he had the opportunity to do it as well. So the fact that we're still dealing with this issue, to me, after all these years, is crazy to me. There should be some resolve. It should be enough. As much as we pay our government officials, we should have a solution to this problem on all sides. And this is where it shouldn't matter what party you are, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We need to make sure that both, that we're doing something for the betterment of this country, because everyone also means well, but at the same time, everybody has approach to get there. And so that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. And like I said before, everybody wants the same thing. We're all fighting for the same thing. But the media is pinning this again, making everybody against each other. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that small town in Alabama, they were very aware of how the media took Ohio. So none of those people even mentioned it a certain way. They just asked the question and they got met with, why are you asking us this? Why you don't need to know? Ma'am, I pay your taxes. I mean, my taxes that pays your salary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell these people what's going on. And that's the whole problem that I have. And that's one of the questions that I thought the journalist missed again.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her what does she plan to do about immigration? What does she plan to do about Texas? Talking about they just took thousands of illegals off the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because whether you are a white guilter, whether you are an apologist, all this stuff for everything that has gone wrong in the country, and you want people to come flooding across the border, it's going to affect you.
Yeah. Every
And
decision that's made at the top affects us all, whether we're at the bottom, middle, wherever we may lie. But I do agree where you say that there should be some transparency. I do agree with the comments of ask her the hard questions. Okay. So we ask her the hard questions and she answers the question. And then it's not necessarily to the way you expect for the answer to be given. Then you still have a problem, because then you're going to say she hasn't answered the question the way in which you like it. So what happens is, in this world and the society that we live in, people are always going to find something to complain about. People are always going to find something to be negative about. People are more consumed with finding something negative than actually finding the common thread that lies between all of us. And the reality is, we just human beings just trying to live a good life. And at the end of the day, it's no shade to nobody or whatever the case may be, but Kamala should be held accountable. She should be transparent. She needs to be fact checked just as much as Donald, because if you're in a public position like that, people are depending on you to be trustworthy, and be honest, as well as show some sense of empathy towards the people that do not have the things that you have. So that's where I think there's some issues on both sides. I'm not going to go into him, but I'll say that she should be accountable just as much as he should too.
I can have empathy, but here's the thing. No, nobody comes before the people in my house. Okay. I'm not gonna give away what I have in my house before my family gets it. America is our house. There's veterans here. We're in DC. We have the highest population of homeless veterans. You know what those billions of dollars they gave to the migrants in Chicago could have did for that? And these are people that actually go fight. They're amputees, all this stuff. They're homeless. But in California, you okay with giving $150K?
I mean, and I mean, I respect that, but given the comments that Donald Trump has made about veterans, it's just It's unfortunate. So it's like, even if I say one thing,
Donald Trump made
negative
it possible that the veterans didn't have to go to some places were 2 hours away for veterans to go to the VA. He made it so that you can take your regular whatever the veterans get, and you can go to something that's close to you. That was Donald
He
Trump's
didn't do
law.
that for my father, and my father died when he
That
was
was Donald
involved.
Trump's law.
And my father was a veteran, and I got the worst treatment from veterans when my father was going through everything with his amputations under the Trump administration. So my father was a double amputee, and I had to go to veterans office.
That's because and I'll just say this really quick. If you look back under Obama, that's when that whole veterans thing happened. You remember when all the veterans were complaining about the long waits, the this, the that, the third. That wasn't under Trump. That happened under Obama. And just like y'all like to say, Trump inherited it.
No, actually, when I went to the veterans office, I'm only speaking from what the Veterans Administration office shared with me, that there were certain things that Trump had cut back that actually made it worse for veterans. So, yeah, I mean, honestly and truthfully, like
you remember when the veterans
like people can say to me, like, I'm triggered by Trump. Yes, I am triggered by Trump because there were certain things that he should have done, that he could have done, that he just did not do for certain people. And yeah, I'm a little bothered by that.
But
and
the veterans
my
one of them.
As a veteran.
You see this right here? I just want you to look at the title.
Yes.
And then you can look at the year. It's called the Veterans Affairs Scandal. That was under Obama.
Okay.
Obama had a scandal, a huge scandal.
Okay.
Because the veterans,
I don't, whatever.
What I'm saying is he inherited something that was effed up, right? Now,
so his comments about veterans, the fact that we were
talking about policy. We were talking about policy. We were talking about policies.
Okay.
And I don't care if you quote unquote say something nice when you're not doing nothing. It's a whole scandal. And somebody got a whistleblower on you for you to do something.
Okay.
So I can sit here and smile like this, but if I go behind your back and say, Jules is dumb as hell, it don't even matter. Yeah, it was nice to you, though.
No, I mean, what I'm saying to you is this. There was something like, my father still benefited from the Obama administration. So whether it was the veterans or whether it was Medicare, my father was benefited. And the reason why I know this is because
hundreds of thousands of others. So you got one person compared to hundreds of thousands.
I'm not saying
let's go to the hundreds of thousands.
Okay, but
that's why it's a scandal.
Am I not American? Am I not?
No, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. You got one person versus 100 of thousands. What about those people too? That's why it's a scandal.
Father's health. I did my due diligence as an American
I'm glad
citizen.
your father got the help. But what I'm saying to you is other hundreds of thousands of other people did not. That's why it's a scandal.
But everyone had the right to it, though. That's what I'm saying.
No, they didn't. That's why it's a scandal. That's what I'm telling you.
But if I'm telling you that even if it is a scandal, it's a scandal
because they didn't get it.
Wholeheartedly that my nurse, the nurse that came to treat my
father,
you
got it. Just like you told me about Trump, right? You said I got tax benefits.
Benefiting from my government. Am I wrong from being able my father's life?
No,
being able to extend his life
but by that same but if you're going to say that, then by that same standard, you can no longer say that how Trump people benefit, because you're saying I got the benefit. So I mean, I benefited from my government. Okay, so then
what?
There's no argument at all.
What I'm saying to you is that when this nurse, and I have a picture,
because you're saying you said no, the country should be able to benefit, not just Trump people.
My father before when Obama was in office, my father had both his toes amputated. Both his big toes amputated because he's a diabetic.
I know. So we talked about your father, and I'm glad he got this stuff.
No. What I'm saying, I'm gonna make my point and make it quick and brief. What I'm saying to you, someone said in the comment, like, I don't hear anybody talking about the insulin prices. Well, my father was a diabetic. He lost both his big toes while Obama was in office. During that time, we had a nurse come to my home. She said, based on the new policies that Obama administration had put in place, that she is now able to come to my house and give my father the care. Okay. That was in like 2009, 2010. Okay. Now fast forward to then when Trump was in office, my father lost both his legs. My father was a double amputee. My father literally lost both his legs, and he could not get he couldn't get medical attention because of the pandemic. So unfortunately, my father passed away because he couldn't get the treatment that he needed because veterans were shut down. He couldn't go to the
I understand that.
the medical care that he needed. So as a result of that, I did get a ramp from veterans. Veterans did give me a nice little ramp for my father to go up and down on. But you have to understand that some people's triggers with Trump are far bigger than just him being a racist or him having horrible policies that don't benefit me. So
right. So then hold on. But then by your same, but that's what I'm saying, Jules. By your same measure, then you can understand why thousands of people don't like Obama, because I bet you how you're talking about your father. What about all those veterans? And those are somebody's fathers, somebody's brothers, somebody's husbands. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I understand what you are saying, but by that measure, if we're going to do that, Bush, I don't even like Bush. Bush had the same thing happen. So he had to do it the housing crisis, along with what is it? Glass-Steagall. So Glass-Steagall happened under Bill Clinton. Right. He had to deal with some of the housing crisis, and then it boomed when Obama got there. Now that wasn't Obama's fault. Now he has, of course, stuff that he did that was also messed up, like bailing out the banks. But the crisis came 2 presidents ago. So again, a lot of the times, the stuff that they put under Donald Trump, I can assure you, I can pinpoint exactly where it came from. Just like I said with the veterans, I remember this. Like I have it here. I remember what, as a matter of fact, at the time, they used to have the long lines outside of Walter Reed. It's one veterans one down in the Northwest. I can't remember, but again, this was all under Obama, right? But the media did not want to highlight it. That's why it ended up becoming a scandal, because people were complaining so much that they didn't get anything. They were taking the money and they were doing whatever they wanted to do. They were taking veterans' money, all of that. What I'm saying is they pick and choose what they highlight, where it starts, and they'll just say, oh, yeah, it's Trump. It's Trump. Last time I checked, that happened under Obama. And Trump has to try to fix it. Okay. Right? Just like I can say that Obama didn't start the housing crisis. That happened 2 presidents ago.
Correct.
So we gotta give, and we talked about this before with Joe Biden. I said that first year is a correction, because you're gonna have to try to correct for the pandemic, right? It's unforeseen. Nobody knows how to, deal with. Okay, cool. Bye. Boom. But after that, where are the policies? So I gave credence to that, just like I gave credence to stuff coming in Trump's era from Obama, just like I gave credence to Obama with stuff coming from there. That's what the media doesn't do. That's what most people don't do. They don't do their due diligence in actually figuring out what actually happened. That's my only point.
They focus on what they like and highlight that, and then focus on and then scare people with the things that they dislike. That's one thing I can definitely agree on. But I definitely want to make it known that, I didn't have an issue with Trump, the businessman. I had an issue with the leadership in which he puts out there. And I think like politicians, they all gonna have some stuff with them. And it's just you pick and choose what you're willing to deal with, whether it benefits you or benefits the country, however the case may be. Everyone's supposed to look out for themselves, take care of home first, and take care of everything else. But the one thing I can say about this country is sometimes we don't take care of home. We take care of everybody else, and then we try to come back home and double back. So I agree. There's some things
where we agree.
Some things I agree on. or whatever.
That's where we
My
agree.
policies, my politics are one thing, but I would be wrong and just, like crazy to sit here and not say, like, I don't want us to take care of the people within this country. Make sure we're stabilized first before we start trying to stabilize somebody else's country. So that part, I agree. I can be a Democrat and a liberal and still have, views that make more sense that align with Republican views as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think good views and good policies are Democratic or Republican. I think good policies benefit the people, period. So with that being said, I thank everybody for watching. This was really good because a lot of people definitely talked. A lot of people voiced their opinions in the chat, and we just really got to talk about not only the difference, but what actually can be done so we can actually hear both sides. Yes, we're always going to talk about the difference because there's always contrast in everything, right? And you need that contrast because, again, to me, the contrast is what makes something better, right? With diamonds, you got to have pressure. If you don't have no pressure, you just got a regular old rock. You got a regular old rock. you got to get some pressure because if you don't, you don't have a gem. So I definitely appreciate like having these moments because I never want to be just in a bowl of everybody thinks the same. Everybody does the same thing because you can't get better that way and you can't learn. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for watching. I definitely appreciate you guys hanging in there for all those spirited moments. I call us spirited. We're gonna call it
passion. It's the passion speaking. It's the passion, y'all. It's the passion. Real, it's the passion. I love this stuff. I love having these conversations.
Yes, I love it.
To think outside the box. And I don't want to be like no one trick pony. Like I don't want to just lead to my own understanding. I want to be aware of the facts. And that's a part of like being this big age that I am. I realized that hey, like I can learn more by listening and I can still express my opinions on certain things if it makes sense. But other than that, I'm
gonna leave everybody with this. Jules, you're definitely accountable because most women not gonna say they big age.
I'm accountable, y'all. Man, I'm 40. I'm 40, and I'm loving it. I'm feeling myself in 40, and I'm feeling it. And I ain't got no cut cards.
My aunt did 39 again for 1,000 years. I said, girl, go shake that cake.
Oh, I love it here. I love it here. I am like, bring it on. But it also comes with a certain sense of like, I'm secure within myself. And I understand that people are not going to like everything I say or agree on the certain things that I agree on. And that's fine. We can happily agree to disagree. And that's what me and Mika do a lot of times. But y'all be surprised the topics that me and Mika agree on. And y'all probably like, that's a whole nother conversation. Cause it would
we got two chats. Like, we got a chat. We got a chat to disagree. And then we got a chat for all of the hippie stuff we like.
Oh yeah, yes, all that. I'm do all that. I think I'm real spirited with it. So yeah,
but I like I said, I appreciate everybody from the viewers to you, Jules. So again, thank you all for watching. Again, ways to give: $, officially Micca at Cash App, and we're out. Peace.